Hi, algebra students. Today we're going to be talking about how to graph quadratics in vertex form using a pattern from the parent function. Okay, so just so you remember, we've graphed quadratics in vertex form before, but we always used a table and we had to plug in every value into our calculator, but now we're going to be able to save some time by using a pattern. So I want you guys to notice that the values of a, which is the number in front of the parentheses, are always going to be 1 or -1, but only for this unit, okay? That doesn't mean that it's always going to be 1 or -1. It's just for this unit. Okay, guys, so hoy vamos a hacer gráficas de parábolas en vertex form. Pero aunque ya hemos hecho eso antes usábamos una tabla y teníamos que encontrar cada valor metiéndolo en la ecuación y en la calculadora, pero ahora vamos a usar como un patrón del parent function, ¿ok? So eso va a hacer el proceso más rápido. Y para hoy el valor que está enfrente de paréntesis siempre va a ser un 1 o -1, pero nada más para esta unidad, no para siempre, ¿ok? Ok, so acuérdense que, remember that if the number in front of the parentheses is negative, si el número enfrente de la paréntesis es negativo, the parabola is going to open down. Okay, and the vertex, el vertex decides what quadrant the parabola is going to be in and the shifts. Okay, so decide en qué cuadrante está la parábola, el vertex, so va a determinar cómo se movió izquierda, derecha, arriba, abajo. All right, guys, so let's talk about that pattern I was telling you about. Vamos a hablar de ese patrón. So, the parent function for a quadratic, si se acuerdan, we always started with a vertex of 0, 0, right? So, siempre empezamos con el vertex 0, 0. And then we picked the smaller numbers from 0 and the bigger ones. And when you put them inside the equation, cuando ponen esos valores y los cuadran, when you square them, -2 squared is 4, -1 squared is 1. Remember, negative times negative is positive when you square them, right? When you square them, you get a positive, okay? So 1 por 1 es 1, 2 por 2 son 4, o 2 cuadrados son 4. So if I plot those points from the vertex, here's the pattern. This is what you guys need to know. It's right 1, up 1, caminos 1, subes 1, and then the second time you go right 2, up 4, okay? Del vertex vas a caminar 1, subir 1, so from the vertex go right 1, up 1, go back to the vertex, then you're going to go right 2, up 4. Okay, I didn't draw this big enough. Okay, so ese es el patrón. Del vertex vas a caminar 1, subir 1, and I should probably draw them a little bit better. So caminar 1, subir 1, and then right 2, up 4. There we go, that's a little bit better. Okay, and then you mirror that, repites ese mismo patrón del otro lado. So remember, this is kind of like your axis of symmetry. It cuts the parabola in half. So repites el mismo patrón, you follow the same pattern but on the other side. Left 1, up 1, and then from the vertex, left 2, up 4. Okay, so este es el patrón que vamos a usar para ahorrarnos tiempo. This is the pattern we're going to use to save us time so that we don't have to fill out a table for every parabola. Okay, para evitar tener que llenar una tabla para cada parábola y tener que meter todos los valores en la calculadora. So this way we don't have to put all the values in the calculator. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Okay, guys, remember that pattern. Right 1, up 1, right 2, up 4 from the vertex. So el patrón, acuérdense, del vertex es caminas 1, subes 1, y del vertex caminas 2, a la derecha subes 4. So 1, 1, 2, 4 is the pattern, okay, guys? All right, so this is a transformed function. Esta es una fórmula o una ecuación de una función transformada, which means that it could be reflected or shifted. So since the value in front of the parentheses is 1, there's no reflection over the x-axis. So that means that this parabola opens up. So esta parábola se abre hacia arriba porque el valor en frente de paréntesis es positivo. Also, another thing to notice is that the vertex is 3, -4. Remember, you change the sign, se cambia el signo del número que está en paréntesis for the number inside the parentheses, and you keep the last number the same, el número de afuera que está al último se queda igual. So our vertex is 3, 4. So here's how you graph without having a table. Okay, so así vamos a hacer la gráfica sin tener que hacer la tabla. We already know it opens up. Sabemos que abre hacia arriba, okay? We're going to plot the vertex. So to get there, we're going to go right 3, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, vamos a poner el vertex. Now, we're going to pretend, okay, we're going to just pretend like this is 0, 0, hacerle como que si este es la origen. So imagine this is like your x and y axis, and we're going to follow the same pattern for the parent function. So from here, we're going to go right 1, up 1, and plot a point. Caminar uno, subir uno, and then right 2, up 4. Caminar 2, subir 4, which is the same exact pattern. You're going to follow it on the other side. Okay, vas a repetir el mismo patrón del otro lado. So you see how it's the exact same shape as the parent function because it opens up. But do you see that pattern? ¿Ven ese patrón? 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay, so that's the pattern. Right 1, up 1, right 2, up 4. But what happens? ¿Qué pasa si se abre hacia abajo? What if it opens down? So since this next one has a -1 and it opens down, the pattern is still pretty much the same, except you'll see one little change. Van a ver que hay un cambio. All right, so the vertex here is -2, 1. Okay, -2, 1. So I'm going to plot that -2, +1. That's quadrant 2. Normally, right, so you're kind of imagining this is like the new origin, we would go right 1, iríamos uno a la derecha y uno para arriba, but because it's opening down, we're going to go right 1, down 1. Okay, so if it opens down, instead of going right 1, up 1, you're going to go right 1, down 1. Y ahí van a poner el siguiente punto. Then you're going to do the same pattern for 2, 4, 2, 4. So you're going to walk 2, correr 2, y bajar 4. And you're going to plot a point. Okay, so with parabolas, the pattern is 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay, and then you're going to follow the same pattern, el mismo patrón. Remember, you always follow the same pattern to the left and to the right. So I'm going to follow the same pattern, 2, 4, and 1, 1, to plot the points on the other side of the parabola. Okay, so remember, you can use the axis of symmetry. We talked about the axis of symmetry in the first chapter. To kind of check to make sure it's symmetrical, right? Esa línea decide si es simétrico o no. Now, just so you guys know, you really should be erasing these little like drawings of the pattern. So estas líneas, these lines over here, I forgot to mention that, no son parte de la parábola, okay? They're not part of the parabola. In your final drawing, en su figura final, no deben de tener nada más aparte de los 5 puntos, nothing else besides the points, the 5 points of the parabola, okay? Nada más los 5 puntos y la parábola. And of course, don't forget your arrows. Okay. So now let's talk about going backwards, okay? Identificar información importante de una parábola. We're going to find important information from our parabola when we already have the graph, ya que tenemos la gráfica. Okay, so first things first, this parabola opens down. So I know that it is reflected over the x-axis. Remember, when a parabola opens down, it is reflected over the x-axis. All right, so the vertex is -1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So -1, -4. From the origin, I would have to go left 1 and down 4 to get to that vertex. Okay, so para llegar a ese punto de -1, -4, tengo que ir del origen 1 a la izquierda y 4 para abajo. So now we need to write the equation in vertex form. So this is new. You're going to give the function a name. Vas a darle un nombre a tu función. You can use any letter like M, Q, R, A, B. I just use f of x, okay? So, función de x, f of x. Since the parabola opens down, I need to have a negative in front of my parentheses. You can even put -1 if you want. Then I'm going to put my parentheses in a squared. My vertex has an x value of -1. But remember, the number in the parentheses, you have to change the sign. So if you want -1, you have to write it as +1. And then the y value, so just so you guys know, these numbers, I'm looking at the vertex, okay? So the y value of the vertex does not change in the equation, so it stays the same. All right, all parabolas get wider and wider. Todas las parábolas siguen creciendo en anchura, so the domain is all real numbers. But the range tells me how low and how high this goes. So esta parábola máximo llega, so it doesn't go any higher than -4. Okay, ven que aquí no, toda la parábola está abajo del -4. So all the parabolas below the -4. So we want to tell them that all the y values are less than or equal to -4. Okay, so just quick reminders when you're putting the numbers for the equation, right? We're using the vertex. Don't forget that in the equation, you change the sign for the x para la ecuación. Ya que tienes el vertex, cambias el signo de la x, but you keep the y value the same. Mantienes el valor de y igual. Okay, last example. This parabola does not open down, so there is no reflection over the x-axis. Remember, a reflection over the x-axis is only when it opens down. The vertex is at 0, 4. Okay, because from the origin, it didn't move left or right. No movió izquierda o derecha. The vertex is just 0, 4. So, del origen subió 4. So there are no horizontal shifts to get to 0, 4 from 0, 0, but we did have to go up 4. All right, the equation in vertex form. We're going to give the function a name, so cualquier letra quieren usar. The only letter you can't use is x. You can't say x of x or y of x. No pueden usar ni la x o y para nombrarlo, so you can use f, g, h, k, m, n, o, p, lo que quieran, okay? I just use f of x. This parabola opens up, so we really, no necesitan poner nada. You don't really need to put anything, but you can put a 1 if you want. Then I'm going to put parentheses squared. Also, it is so important for you to put the squared. That's what makes it a quadratic, okay? Sin el cuadrado, it's not a parabola. So if you don't put the squared, it is not a parabola. So don't forget, you need the parentheses and a squared. Están las paréntesis y el cuadrado. Okay. Because the x value was 0, you can put 0, you can put x plus 0 or x minus 0, pero en realidad, you really don't need to put the 0 at all. So you can actually just write it like this, okay? Porque x más 0 es x plus 0 is just x, and x squared is x squared, okay? So I would accept either of these answers. Either of these answers are okay. Remember that the domain is how wide this parabola gets. All parabolas keep growing wider and wider. Todas las parábolas siguen creciendo en anchura a la izquierda y a la derecha, so el domain is all real numbers. But the range tells me how high and how low it goes. Y toda esta parábola está arriba. This whole parabola is above the value of 4. So we want to tell them that the y values are all above mayores que 4. All right, guys, go ahead and get your homework started. Let us know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon. Bye.